All right, welcome to this episode of the Joyful Scaling Podcast. Today we're talking about style and how your wardrobe needs to be a part of your business strategy. Did you know that? My guest today is Nicole Otchy. She is a personal stylist and she's a personal branding consultant. And Nicole works with ambitious women and she helps them uncover and refine, I love that word, their brand using their personal style, allowing them to step fully into their visibility and do the work that you are uniquely meant to do in the world. Nicole is the host of the Self Styled podcast. She's a mama of a super sweet little, and she hails from New York. Let's welcome Nicole to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, awesome. Well, I met Nicole in a mastermind I was in. She was a featured speaker, and I said, my ladies in my audience need what you got. All right, so let's start here. You say that entrepreneurs need to think of their wardrobe as part of their business strategy. Tell me why that is, and then tell me, why that's so important.
So I work with women. I only work with women. And that is primarily because when I started my styling business 12 years ago, I got the opportunity to see women who were very successful in business pretty early in my career. And what I saw was that they struggled with visibility more than like the men that were sort of in the same position, making the same kind of money. You talk about scaling, scaling businesses. And what I saw very up close and personally, because you're in people's homes, I'm all virtual now, but at the time I was in person, is that things like weight, things like age, things like shopping just feeling hard, feeling like you're just bad at getting dressed, right? Um, really got in the way of things that women really needed to do to get to the next level. Because as many of us know, you can kind of get pretty far now putting yourself out there. But to really get big momentum in your business, you have to show up for it. And being a personal brand, I think in general, comes a little bit harder to women. Not all women, but I have seen the sort of that struggle be very personalized. And so my goal and my work and my commitment is to helping more women show up in the world in leadership and in visibility so that the world changes. And I actually do think that clothes are part of it, because if our clothes speak to us and reinforce the image that we need to have of ourselves, that we're building as entrepreneurs, it's very powerful as a mindset tool. And when we are convinced, other people are convinced. And so clothes are a part of how I think as entrepreneurs we can tap into the energy of who we want to become on a day-to-day basis.
Mm, so good. There's so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
I smiled to myself when you said some women feel bad about getting dressed because I think that's me. Like I packed on some poundage. I packed on some poundage and see, you only see the top part. You don't see my protruding belly, which makes me feel 4 months pregnant, but maybe I'm slightly exaggerating, but I think this really is going to resonate with virtually every woman out there because we're all our own worst critic, right? So the weight, the age, and the shopping feeling hard. So I want to go there, but first I want to really attack this mindset piece.
Mm.
As you work with your clients, and I'm sure these women have reached, like you said, a level of success, but it's almost like they're not putting themselves out there, and there's a mindset piece. So how does your work with them really kind of maybe give them confidence and make them feel powerful enough to go out there and really show up?
So the first piece of it is that when you are not reacting to your life, when you're not reacting to the fact that, oh no, I have a speaking event in 2 days and I have nothing to wear, and then I'm going to the store and I'm panic shopping, and then I see those pictures from that event and I don't like how I look, and then I beat myself up and I blame myself, which then makes it harder to get out there again. So it's what I call the negative visibility cycle. And I've seen it over and over again, and I've experienced it. So I've seen this. And the mindset piece is, if like anything in a business, like you don't just launch a website without thinking about the colors and thinking about the logo. We give more time to our websites and to our blog posts even than we do to how we are showing up. And I want to be clear that my commitment isn't to women like looking a certain way or in a performative way, but really for themselves, like giving it like as a form of taking care of yourself. um, and and so what happens is that the mindset piece comes in by thinking to yourself, okay, this is a part of my visibility strategy, just like hiring a publicist is, just like, any of the other things you would do to set yourself up for success. This is a piece of the strategy. And the benefit of that thinking is that it depersonalizes getting dressed. And then it's like, when the outfit doesn't work or whatever, okay, well, how do we shift what's not working here? How do we shift it? Where do we need it to be? Where do we want it to be? And by learning how to look at your style in this manner, it becomes a skill that you learn and not something that you should just expect yourself. Like, no one beats themselves up for not knowing how to design a website, right? But we beat ourselves up for not knowing like how to put an outfit together that works with our body shape. Like, those are skills. And that is a very helpful shift. And then the second piece of this that is really, really important, and I don't think is sort of talked about enough, is that what happens in your closet, particularly around visibility, happens in your life. And so, yes, I'm talking about business, but I have seen very few places that where a woman hasn't sort of discounted her own voice when it comes to her style, because most women actually do know what they like. That she isn't also discounting herself somewhere else. And the level to which women do that varies, but depending on, most of us often even know what the right move is in our business, and we think we need an expert to tell us. My goal with defining and refining my clients' closets is for them to see that there's something there, and my job is to pull it out of them, to validate that it's acceptable, and then to help them sort of package that in a way that feels authentic to them and translates well on camera or wherever they are.
So good. So good. Okay. So when you said about you pull it out, I would love to work with you, because what's funny is I think I have no style. Like, I look at my closet and everything is very bland. Like right now, I like this suit, although I don't know that I could fit into the pants right now. I have shorts on, which is kind of funny. If I stood up, I have shorts on, but that's the beauty of virtual. But, what do you say to the woman who is like, I don't even think I have a style? Like, how do you even begin to define that for yourself?
Yeah, so I mean, I have an entire process that we start with. It's really not about the clothes first. The clothes are actually the easy part once you figure out the sort of, and we really create like a visual brand. Like, what are the colors? What are the silhouettes? What do you feel good about? Because it's really about the expression of the energy that you really want to show up with. I would actually argue you have a pretty clear sense of style, and I'm a little surprised to hear you say that. And this is exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Like, I look at you and you have a very defined visual brand, right? You wear pearls. You tend to wear like more in the suiting department. Like, I don't see you in like, I don't know, yoga clothes, which some entrepreneurs wear. So I would say that you have a very clear brand. Now, is that brand giving you the energy that you want right now? Maybe not, but is that about, other things, right? Is that about, well, the pants don't fit. Well, can we just shift that and buy the pants that fit? Like, I mean, life is really short. Like, let's not do that to ourselves. So it's really about what you're making it mean that those pants don't fit you. And so that's why I think that this kind of thing is more like 90% mindset and like 10% clothes. So when you're trying to sort of figure out what that style is, sorry, that's my daughter.
I know, I'm
I
so
apologize.
sweet.
She's just learning to like make noises. I apologize. This is very real life, people. This is very real life. So when you're kind of trying to find it with somebody, it's really about having them, if they really feel stuck, list what they don't like. Because what you don't like usually leads you like, why don't you like it? And when you start asking these kind of questions, you start to understand, like, do you not like something because you're afraid you're going to be judged? Do you just not like green? Do you just, understanding that helps me kind of get to the bottom of it. And, I do provide visual examples and stuff like that. But most of us just don't let ourselves look or play, or it's always so serious. Like, when we go to the mall or we go to stores or we order online, like, if something doesn't fit, it like means a whole world of things. And all it means is like, that doesn't fit. Like, that's not the garment that's coming home with you. And so, yeah, that's kind of the place to start, is by what you don't like.
That is so good. And the reason I say that, I don't know if you know, I'm a twin, and my twin sister, she was the fashion plate and I was the bookworm. And I was the nerd. So it's so true, like, about the mindset. I love it. It's 90% mindset and 10% how you look. And it's so true. Like I do mindset work when it comes to business, but I never really thought about it with my clothes.
And here's the thing, you don't have a business without you. So, and we know this, like people are like, oh, I'm journaling and this is my morning practice as an entrepreneur. Like, I have nothing against that. Except for the like, if getting dressed isn't a part of that, then you don't really have a mindset practice because you look in the mirror all the time, right? And so it's the best way to manifest who you want to become because you are visually reinforcing it. When you journal, you close it, you go about your day, you may never think about that again. I understand that writing has its place. I'm just saying, like, this is really what I see is that people live into the next version of themselves, and sometimes we need help with that, just like in business. But that's why I think that the mindset piece is so critical.
So good. Oh my gosh, I knew this would be good. All right, next question. I'm gonna go move it. I could lay on that for a while.
I'm fascinated about you being a twin. Like I could talk about that all day.
And you know what's funny? She's 2 inches taller, but I think if she was sitting here, you might be fooled and think that I'm her or she's me.
So you're not identical.
No, but very close. But anywho, all right. So listen, most entrepreneurs wait, and you mentioned it earlier, they wait until it's like the day before something, like a photo shoot or a talk on stage. I'm actually talking on stage in 4 hours. So anyway, but why is it that we tend to be reactionary? Why is that a mistake? And what do we need to do instead?
Because we are overwhelmed. And it's at the sort of entry level, it's just cognitive overwhelm. We don't know where to start. And I think really, if you really think about it, it's because it really matters. So I would assume if you're going tonight to, give a talk, that if you didn't feel good in your clothes when you were giving that talk, you may feel neutral, but if you don't feel good, the impact is great, right? Especially if you're a public speaker. And we know that that matters. And so it's almost like we become perfectionistic. And so then we avoid it. And then the day comes and we're like, oh no. So we panic shop. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This is how we get into that negative visibility cycle. And so that's one piece of it. And then the second piece of it is that women in general are finding it harder to shop than before because the majority of clothes are online if you are a size 12 or above, which statistically most women between like 40 and 60 are. And there are some really great brands out there for plus size and even, and even women that are like 12 to 14, 16. And what is happening is you're not accessing them because they're online and people don't realize it. And so there's this feeling like, well, there's nothing in the stores for me. And if there is things in stores, it's so limited in style. And so it's really about shifting how you get dressed. And I mean, how you shop is a huge part of the work that I have to do with clients because it's often people are used to just going into a store and grabbing something, which is another reason why you have to plan because it's not the same as it used to be. And if you understand how shopping has evolved and how you should do it, it actually can be a better experience because you're trying on clothes at home. You don't have crappy dressing room lighting. You can mix and match with clothes that you already have in your home while you're trying on, so you can see like, is this investment worth it? Am I getting a lot of wear out of this? There's a lot of opportunity if you learn how to shop strategically, but most of us don't know how.
Yeah. I mean, as you're saying that about going online, I always hesitated to do that because I hate returns. I'm the type of person where if I bring something home and it doesn't fit, it usually hangs in my closet and never gets returned. It's just, I know it's silly, but
No, it's not silly, and I hear it a lot. But here's the thing: it's like any other thing you do in your business. I really think that thinking about this is like a piece of your business, because then it starts to like go into other parts of your life. But this is a starting point for most women. Is if you think of it that way, you're getting it's an investment you're making that's going to have returns every time you get on a stage, every time you see those photos when you look at them, because we're seeing ourselves a lot, right? As more than like a person with a different kind of job. It's weird, right? How many photo shoots we have as part of our career. Like that, we're not celebrities. Like that's just a strange aspect of it that we don't even stop to think about. Yeah. But if we were thinking about writing a book or doing something else that was putting our work out there, we would be worried about the cover. We would be agonizing about that. We would be, so it's interesting that we don't do that with ourselves. And it's really a shift, I think.
Yeah. So how do we even begin? I mean, to me, it is overwhelming to go shopping live, but to shop online, are there any like tips? I mean,
for online?
Huh? What's that?
For online or in person. I can give you a couple for both. So
Yeah.
the first thing is if you shop without a list, that's the same thing as going to the grocery store hungry and expecting like that's going to go well.
Mm.
So a big part of it is making sure that you're looking at your closet before you go shopping. This is really why I think a lot of people set themselves up to fail is they just think I need an outfit. They don't think, okay, do I have a base of an outfit here? Do I have, do I just need a blazer? Do I need a shirt? We don't even know where to start. So we walk into the experience online or in person already overwhelmed.
Mm.
You have to give yourself a place to start. And if you decide you're going to do a whole new outfit, great. What kind of an outfit do I want? You have to start whittling it down so that when you are faced with choices, you can say, okay, I want a dress. And you go right to the dress section. Or if you're online, you go right to the dresses. And then you filter by your size. And then you filter by the color or whatever, and that kind of thing. But I also think having a strategy, like I have a course that teaches you how to like build out your visual brand for yourself. And it's basically like a template. Like, when you go into Canva and put your, colors in or your fonts in, it's that. So that when I speak on stages, I wear this. When I am on, and you can obviously change it a little bit, but this is the general colors. When I'm, on TV, I wear this. Or if I'm in person with retreats, because a lot of the entrepreneurs I work with have that, this is what I'm going for, right? It's like a couple steps down than what you might see of me in a headshot. That, thinking about like the level of formality and things like that. If you just have a few areas like formality level, the kind of piece you want a suit, do you want a dress, and sort of color or print, if that's your thing, knowing those things about yourself, those three things can help you, make the experience easier online or in person. But also, we tend to think that we have to reinvent the wheel all the time. And that creates cognitive overwhelm. But what I think is useful is to remember that you're a personal brand. And just like all branding, the more people see it, the more it's reinforced. So having, like in your case, is why I was kind of laughing to myself when you said you didn't have a brand, because you are always wearing pearls. I can't, it's such a part of your business. People wear sweatpants and I would still know it was you.
Yeah, I do feel I have a brand, but if you'd see me walking in the street, that's what I meant. I really don't have a style outside of me wearing suity professional garb here on Zoom, for example, or on
You just
stage.
don't know how to translate it into other contexts. So this is where, thank you for saying that, because this is helpful for people to see. Because I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, what? She has style. Like, what are you talking about? So this is, and also important that all women kind of think this. This is not the thing we talk about a lot because it often doesn't come up, but everyone thinks this. So what it often we have trouble with is figuring out, how do I translate my style in one context to another, and it's formality level. So that's the kind of piece that when we know that, we can be like, okay, what is this, the feeling that I'm going for in, say, in your example, like work or sort of video. Well, I want to come across as polished, I want to come across as classic, whatever your words would be. What does that look like for you when you are walking down the street, going grocery shopping? And the reason that's important is because it gives us a sense that our style is ours and it's cohesive. You can't just look often at your style and what you can start with your style in one place, but in order for it to feel authentic and to feel aligned, it has to sort of show. You need to understand how it works in your whole life. And it's usually not that far off. People don't usually have like wildly different styles. They just don't know how to translate it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that's really good. What about, okay, silly things now about shopping, okay?
Yeah.
Like what my sister's great at, which I don't feel as well equipped in, is accessorizing an outfit.
As you sit here with pearls on, what are you saying to me?
But outside of the
What are
brand,
you
right?
saying to
Because
me?
she is daring. Like she'll wear a necklace and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. Like it just doesn't feel good for me, but it looks good on
Yeah.
other people. Like, so what are some tips of even like stretching ourselves in something that we like it and we may look at it and say, wow, I just don't think that's me. I wish it were, but I don't believe it is.
So first you have to figure out what it means to say, what is me, right? Like you have to, if you don't have language around things, you can't fully grasp them, right? As human beings, that's how this works. So putting a name on what kind of style you have so that you can say, my style is not that is very helpful, because often we don't know why that doesn't feel like us. So I would say to you, like, well, why does your sister's big necklaces, because you're wearing enormous pearls right here. So what is it about your sister's necklaces or style feels risky or out there for you? Like, what is it? Is it because it draws attention? Is it because what is it? And then it's like, okay, well, could I do that? Some version of that for myself, right? Maybe it's wearing a bolder color for you. So I think it's important to think about what about that feels not me. Something about that energy doesn't feel you, feel like home to you, or feel comfortable. So the other thing I would do if you are thinking about stretching yourself is buy things or order things. Leave the tags on them. I'm not saying wear them out and like go grocery store with them, but like wear them around for a few hours in your house and see if it starts to kind of take down that anxiety around, shopping different or being different in your style. But also remember, we tend to think people are looking at us and noticing us more than they are. So it's really important to start to have that conversation with ourselves. It's like, okay, this isn't my style. And if I did wear it out one day and people even noticed, what would the impact be? Like, nobody really cares about our clothes as much as we do. And also to really kind of, I think as women, talk our nervous systems down from the fear of judgment, because that's really what that is about. And if you wear a bad outfit one day, it really means nothing about you, because you get to take that outfit off. So again, this is about the depersonalization, but so much of our style is tied up in our identity and tied up in wanting to feel safe in the world, which is so human and so basic. And if we don't understand that, those things can really dictate the conversation.
So good. All right. So I'm going to pick your brain on something. I have my outfit chosen for tonight.
Okay, what is it?
Are there some, it's a dress that is actually the cover of my podcast. It's
Okay.
like a bold print with short sleeves. But I feel really good in it, so I'm going to wear that. But I'm
Great.
just curious. So when you are working with a woman and she's like, I need to have my stage outfit, is
Yes.
there some sort of go-to parameters that you like to stick with?
Yeah. So there's a few things about stages. It's really important when you're a public speaker. This is kind of a way that you get your message out there, whether it be TV or on stages, to understand the spaces you're going to be in, and whether it means like having your assistant do this or something like that. I want to know, like, first I want to know how big that stage is. How are you situated on the platform? Is you in the middle of everybody? Are you like a traditional stage situation where everybody's in front of you and you're up there? If that's the case, you have to remember that depending on how big the space is, like, it's very hard for everybody to fully see you. So you want to find a way to ground yourself in a large space. And one of the ways you can do that is with bolder colors, columns of color. Even if you're a more neutral person, that's fine. A white suit or a white dress, like these types of things, because all people are going to see you from far away is a block of something, right? And so you want to think about that. And then if you're more close up and you're kind of maybe you're doing a meet and greet after or something like that, or you're doing a book signing or stuff like that. I still have a lot of clients for those. The thing that's really interesting is that we don't notice this often as entrepreneurs, and especially if we have friends that are in business. But when people, particularly a potential client, come to meet us, if they followed us online or followed us in certain spaces, there may be things like, in your case, pearls. It might be kind of weird if somebody met you and you didn't have them on. And so really not everybody has that. So that's what I'm saying. Yours is pretty clear. But to have things you repeat that are small is really critical to people feeling like when they meet you in person, they know you. And that, obviously, we tend to hire people we like and know, right? So that is where I'm saying, like, this actually does have business ramifications. And so I would also be thinking about, if there is something after where you're going to be meeting people, trying to have those pieces in place, but making sure that the shapes of your clothes feel good to you and on you, because there's really nothing worse than being on stage and feeling uncomfortable in your clothes.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, so good. All good. Listen, we have to wrap up in just a minute, but is there anything that you wanted to touch on that we didn't talk about yet?
Well, we touched on it really briefly, but the one thing I will say right now that's been on my mind a lot is that if you are somebody holding yourself back because of weight, often this is a COVID conversation, right? But the likelihood is that most women didn't have great relationships with their body image before COVID. So COVID didn't invent this problem, and it's important for us to remember that that there is a real cost to you not showing up because people need you and people need what you do. And no potential client knows about those extra 10 pounds. And even if they did, they do not care. They care about your results. And even more so, it is an opportunity to be an example to other women in the world, that this shouldn't be the thing that's dominating us. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that it's something that we need to just forget about or pretend doesn't bother us, but it gets easier the more you show up. So please keep showing up, even if it does feel a little bit hard right now.
Wow, such great advice. Thank you for that. All right, well, you have something special to offer our listeners, so tell us about that.
Yeah, I would love to invite you to join the Edit, which is my monthly shopping guide. I don't call it a newsletter. I don't love newsletter. I feel like I'm a little sick of newsletter. And it's really what I do each sort of month is give you a style lesson. So how to use proportions, how to use color, and it is all pretty much focused on visibility. So stuff like you just asked me about stage, and then I give you shopping links to try it out on your own. And I include all sizes, petite, tall, plus. So there's something for everybody. So I'd love for you to join me in that space. It's my favorite place to be.
Beautiful. I will have the link to that. And where can the ladies find you online? Where do you like to hang out?
I mostly am on Instagram. So it's just and then my name, Nicole Otchy, all one.
All right. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your genius. And I just love how, like, here we are talking about clothing and it's cerebral and it's absolutely vital to really take our businesses to that next level. So thank you so much for sharing all of your genius.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies, thank you for listening. And if you've enjoyed this episode, and I'm sure you have, please feel free to go to my website and leave me a voice note, judyweber.co/podcast. Scroll down a bit. You will see where you can do exactly that. I want to feature you on my next episode. So go ahead and do that. Finally, if you have not yet left a rating and a review, please do that as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.